If your intuition feels quiet right now, this isn't the video that tells you how to turn it back on. This is the video that explains why it went quiet and how to listen again without forcing anything. Hi, everyone. My name is Fiona Waddell. I'm an international psychic, medical intuitive, and energy healer, and I have spent years working across many metaphysical and intuitive traditions, both personally and professionally. What I've learned again and again is that intuition isn't something mystical that comes and goes randomly. It's something your body and nervous system are already doing constantly. One of the most common fears I hear from intuitive people is, I used to be intuitive and now it's gone quiet. What I want you to know is this. Quiet intuition doesn't mean a broken intuition. It usually means your system is integrating, protecting, or recalibrating. Today, I want to walk you through why intuition goes quiet, what not to do when that happens, and how to gently reconnect in a way that feels steady, embodied, and real, not forced or performative. So, why does intuition go quiet? Intuition doesn't live in your thoughts, it actually lives in your body. And your body has one primary job: to keep you safe. When your nervous system is overwhelmed, overstimulated, exhausted, processing change, or integrating growth, and this could be a variety of things like relationship changes, new coworkers, new job, it naturally turns the volume down on subtle signals. It doesn't want to overwhelm you. It's not as punishment or failure, but rather as protection. This is why intuition often goes quiet. It's it can be after huge growth periods, during burnout, when you're making major life changes, or when you've been pushing yourself to stay open. Silence isn't necessarily absence. Silence is actually integration. Your system is digesting information before it sends the next signal. Most people panic right at the moment their intuition is actually recalibrating. And as empaths, we are constantly in flux because we're recovering people pleasers, establishing boundaries. So when we're on our healing journey and our awakening, and even now, myself with my journey and the many years I've been doing it, when I'm up leveling, my intuition slows down a little bit because I need to take care of myself. And it's almost like when it goes quiet, that's the intuitive message that I need to take care of myself. So, what not to do? There are three things people almost always do that can make this worse. First is forcing their signal, like they have to turn on their intuition, trying to fix it with more readings, reading for themselves, going to go see readers, meditating till the cows come home, ritual after ritual, and just absorbing a variety of content, thinking they have to chase. So, forcing doesn't create clarity, it actually creates more noise. Mistake number two is chasing the signs, looking for numbers, cards, omens, or external confirmation. Tools are mirrors, not replacement for self-trust. More often than not, I know when someone is in this phase, they'll send me a text or a message saying, I need to book a session with you because I saw the numbers 333. I saw a crow and a cardinal in the same day, and I heard a song from um, my uncle's funeral. Are they trying to connect with me? What are the messages in here? I need to know. They could be separate, they could all be one. Sitting down with your nervous system and just taking a moment to slow down and say, what they could, the 333 could be for something else. You could have been thinking about your taxes. So it's hit or miss, folks. They're mirrors to your life in the moment. not replacement for your ability to trust your instincts, which is what you're rebuilding or reconnecting with. Mistake number three, assuming you are blocked. Like thinking if you believe there's a huge wall between you and something, you're going to make one. The moment you decide something is wrong with you, your nervous system contracts. So you almost like exponentially cause this gap between yourself and your intuition. And intuition will move further away. Most intuitive blocks, I hate using the word blocks, are actually capacity limits, not failure. You need a bigger cup, or you need to mend the cup you're working with. So, how to actually restore intuition? Here's the fix, folks. Instead of trying to turn intuition back on, the work is to make your system feel safe enough to listen again. So, step one, reduce input. Less scrolling, less learning, less trying. Intuition speaks in spaces, not crowds. See, when I used to work on the psychic fair circuits, traveling across Canada, and I absolutely loved it, seeing hundreds and thousands of people every season, and I loved it. But true healing and shifts never really took place there. There were far too many people, a variety of energies, people expecting performances from psychics, and they have this crazy Hollywood idea that they're going to be healed in a reading or get all the answers, or they saw a psychic 30 years ago and they predicted their current partner, so now they're back again to get more answers, and they haven't grown. But we have. The energy is growing. Going to fairs and getting readings, if you notice, a lot of the readers are moving into healing and teaching because we're shifting now. The everyday person can start tapping in and reading it themselves. There is no gatekeeping to this information. We have all been blessed with these abilities. So the first one is reduce input. Take some time for yourself. Go to small group settings, smaller circles, work with someone, because your intuition speaks in spaces, not a crowded room, not a lot of noise. Step number two is slow the timeline. Urgency is not intuition. I just taught this in my class, in my membership group. We spent the lesson working between inspired fire, motivation, what that feels like, and urgency messages, which come across as very harsh, heavy, must do now kind of energy. And our intuition doesn't really flow with the urgency energy. It typically does not speak in that language. It speaks in the flow because your body feels safe. Urgency has its time or place. And a best example I could give is we were in the Dominican Republic, and I don't know what happened to the flight when we were leaving. We were sitting in the airport, and our flight kept saying delayed, delayed, and something didn't feel right. Like my intuition, everything was like, this is not right. I had that calm feeling, something's not right. But then suddenly I got a push in my energy. Go check the line. And I looked up, and nobody was in line for our flight to leave. And they had all these delays. So the this small little room in the Dominican Republic's departure area was a mess. So I walk over and I said, "Where's such and such flight?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's getting ready to board. We're missing like five people." I'm like, "Oh, we're two of the five." And I'm like running through the airport, grabbing, and we're running back, and we're like, out of my way, because there were so many people. My nervous system was wrecked. I probably couldn't pick up any other messages other than get going, get moving. But I can't sustain that. My nervous system would break down, that heightened like fight or flight energy. But I had that push and I listened, but it was after I had this influx of you got to keep watching the line. You got to keep watching watching. Something's not right. And it was bugging me the several hours we were there because we'd already been delayed, but they didn't announce the boarding of our flight. It was never announced. And so when we started running, other people noticed, they started running, and everybody got on their flight safely. So that was awesome. But that's an example of urgency versus inspired. The whole time I just had this gentle flow of something's not right. But these times, something I kept looking at the app, looking up, down, looking around. I was suspicious. Something was not right. And then because I hadn't put two and two together, I got the urgency push. And I was like, oh. And I looked up. Nobody was in line. I went over and I casually went over. They're like, yeah, no, we're waiting for five people. I'm like, what? So running through a crowded airport, good times. But instead of like needing to know, like you need to know now, try, I'm listening. I don't need the full answer today. So the whole time I just had this feeling something was like, and when push came to shove and it needed to like, the time is now, I got that like boom. So you don't want to be in that urgency that I need to know everything now. There was no way for me to fully understand we were going to just miss our flight. That's not information I need to know. Um, and constantly feeling the need to have urgent messages or messages with all the information so you can plan everything out. It, you do not have the capacity. That's fight or flight. That's cortisol levels going through the roof, constantly trying to push as opposed to easing with your intuition. So try, I'm listening. I don't need the full answers today. And I can guarantee you'll get little tidbits of information, just little bits that will help you move forward. And when push comes to shove, you're in a calm, relaxed state. Boom, you'll get the urgent message if you're not listening. So, step number 3, build consistency, not intensity. One small daily practice beats dramatic effort. Intuition trusts consistency. See, for me, I'm neurospicy. I'm perimenopausal. The idea of slowing down and just having a simple practice looks good on paper, sounds logical, but in application, it can be a challenge. It is a form of compassion when things are not like I can say, build consistency. It's easy. Just go. No, it's a practice to be consistent. It's work, and I do not demand perfection of myself. When I do my small daily practices during the day, it ranges. Like I go for my workouts. Some days it's in the morning, some days it's in the afternoon, some days it's late at night before the gym closes. Whenever I'm studying for any of my other creative projects or the courses I'm in, I don't have a consistent time, but I do it consistently, if that makes sense. I listen to how my body responds. Um, so if you're expecting, like, I'm going to do something every day at 7 o'clock, uh, if your body does not respond to that, then don't do it. If your body does respond to it and it feels good, please go ahead. I'm giving you permission to listen to your needs. So these are some practices to feel activated again, to feel in the flow. The first one is the settling signal. Once a day, pause and ask, what does my body do when I stop trying to figure this out? I'm a type A personality. I've got a Libra midheaven. I got to have answers. So, this is a beautiful activity that I try to do at least once a day, where I just sit with my hands on my heart. What does my body do when I stop trying to figure this out? If I'm just getting hung up on something and spinning in circles, I'll just take a couple of breaths and just sit with it. And I almost go to my factory settings, and this is the state I want to be in if I'm going to find a solution. And I am aware of my breath, my jaw, my shoulders, my stomach. How are my feet sitting, sinking or sitting into the floor? And so the shift stops. Like I'm not looking for answers, but I'm settling into my body so I can receive answers. I know it's flip it on its head. Clarity often returns after the body softens. Did a similar technique in one of my classes recently where we were going to be going in and doing some checks to see where in the body or where we were picking up clairvoyant messages and such, and how we were receiving clairsentient information. And I said, just close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths. We do my stop, drop, and flow approach. And I said, think of a mug, any kind of mug, just the plainer the mug, the better. And just think about the mug. And I kid you not, I watched everyone go, they were looking at a mug. They just were thinking of a mug. There is nothing, there is no emotional attachment to mugs. There's nothing like, do I got to make mugs? What do I got to do with it? Nothing. It's neutral. And they were able to soften. And then they had an amazing time picking up information and reading into their own intuition. Second exercise is pattern listening. Instead of asking, what is my intuition saying? Because we're so hung up on, I need perfect sentences or complete clarity. Just ask, what keeps repeating? Thoughts, themes, curiosities. Intuition speaks through patterns, not commands. Like, track them gently for a week and you will be amazed. Very rarely, if ever, our intuition will say, do this, you must do this. Even when I was at the airport, it was like, look over there. It wasn't like, Durr. So I'll give you a unique example. Whether you connect with it, I don't know. This was probably a decade ago. I started having this image of this wise woman. This is just before I started on my Reiki, like all of this whole energy journey. If you read the book Seeking Alignment, this is probably around the time, the chapter I wrote in that book, around the time I started just having this image in my head of this woman in a blue shawl over her head and blue clothing, different shades, different materials like wool and cotton and such. And she's walking up this mountain side, and the ocean is behind me. And there's this long, reedy grass. And there's the gray skies. And I just know I'm going off somewhere to help someone. I'm not alone, there's a couple of people with me. And I know it's me. I know for the longest time, I had no idea where it was. And it was during COVID, I had this pattern. It comes to me on a regular basis, this image. Um, I connected it with Wales. And so yeah, I've always had this connection, Wales, Scotland, um, this energy. And I'm going off to help others. I can't explain it. I don't fully understand it. But when I do the work that I'm doing, the coaching, the teaching, the healing, the readings, it's in alignment with whatever that image is. And that image has been with me for like a decade or a little bit more. And it's comforting. I've never seen it in a book or a movie, nothing. And so it actually came up. I was teaching an Akashic Records course, and I shared this that it could be past life, it could be an imprint from the Akashics in general, the collective consciousness, or maybe it's just an image that my intuition has created to help me feel aligned. But it's a pattern and I let it sit in my energy field. It's positive, it's supportive. When you take a moment to quiet the noise, and instead of trying to reach forward, which we're taught to do in this society, goal setting, this, that, and that, and vision boards, and they're all powerful and wonderful. I'm not, but when we get hung up on a mode, if you do tarot, it's like getting stuck in the Hierophant card. Like if you're getting stuck in an institutionalized system of doing one thing and only seeing one thing, you forget to be present. And our intuition really likes to be present and it's working in the moment. Uh, and it's helping with our perception so we can see forward. So by slowing the noise down and bringing and seeing what's happening in the now and what's been happening recently, and it could be a couple of months, you will have a lot, you'll find answers there. You will. And the third activity is the permission reset. It's it, say this quietly or out loud. I give my intuition permission to speak softly. Period. I give my intuition permission to speak softly. It's in the affirmative, so those of you in the NLP area, it helps with rewiring the mind, that you're sitting in an energy where your intuition can speak. This alone removes enormous pressure. So here's what I want you to remember. Silence isn't absence, it's digestion. Your intuition hasn't gone anywhere. Silence isn't absence, it's digestion. You're leveling up. You're recalibrating. It's waiting for safety. It's waiting for space, trust, consistency. And when those are present, intuition will not be shouting. It just shows up. It's always on in the background. And when we're quiet and safe and we can hold that information, it flows forward. If you want to keep building this kind of relationship with your intuition, one that's calm, consistent, and trustworthy, that's exactly what I practice and we practice in the Intuition Circle, which is my monthly membership. It's for women who don't want more information. Like it's there, but the focus is we want to integrate. We want to create confidence and have real life application with intuition and our nervous system. The Intuition Circle, yes, you can work there and have fun and play to become a psychic, to become a card reader, to become a medium, but it's also designed for women to tap back into their intuition, that wonderful medicine that we all have access to, and have real life applications that we can apply to our lives, to our family, to our friends, to our dreams, and our goals to make this world a better place. You'll find the link to join below. And if this way of teaching resonates with you, I'd love for you to like, subscribe, and well, stick around. This channel is about you becoming a confident intuitive, grounded in your body, clear in your knowing, and living your best life from a place of self-trust. We're not here to be louder. We're not here to be more spiritual. We just need to listen differently. Take care.